Sup guys, Juggalo here. If I do sound like I'm in the distance, it's because I'm actually speaking behind the camera itself because I have my laptop reversed because the lighting from the laptop was actually affecting the camera to shoot what I needed, and I also adjusted it so you can actually see everything. Okay, this is the ASUS ROG front base panel. This right here is to monitor your temperatures, overclocking, everything like that. So I'm going to give you a little bit of rundown and everything like that. Alright, top left hand corner is going to be your clock. Top right, RFBE stands for ASUS Rampage 4 Extreme Black Edition. This right here is like your mode for overclocking. There's two modes depending on the overclocking. Values of level 1 and level 2 depend on the CPU type or motherboard installed. And this also says if you're messing around with this, restore the system to its default settings if the system becomes unstable. For more details, refer to the BIOS section of your motherboard. So this is on the clock, basically overclocking, okay? So I already said the time, overclocking mode. This right here is going to be your CPU frequency. I have my 4930K processor overclocked to 4.3 gigahertz. This right here displays the RPM fan. Right here, this will display the CPU temperature as well as the motherboard temperature. Okay. Now, for the next thing, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it, but you can kind of imagine it. You have your headphone jack, your microphone jack, and then right underneath here is your USB. I know you really can't see it. I'm sorry. It's just that if I turn on the lights, it just creates a lot of crazy stuff, and the camera doesn't want to focus, and I already had to manually try to focus this on here because the camera was screwing up on me. You have a knob right here which allows you to change the settings. So if I, see right here, there's motherboard and there's CPU. So the motherboard is 34 degrees Celsius. The CPU is 44 degrees Celsius. So if I do that, then it goes through CPU 1, CPU 2, chassis 1, chassis 2, 3, and all that good stuff. And then if you push it in, I'm not sure if you push in, it just stops it like that. Okay, guys? Right here, you also have some buttons at the bottom, but they kind of explain what they do, but kind of don't. So give me a quick moment. Alright, what this button's supposed to do, number 5, or aka the number 1 button, which is located here, is when you hit it, it's supposed to turn off your screen, mute the sound, and the display of the desktop. So in case you're gaming and your wife doesn't want you to game, you hit this button and it shuts off everything pretty much. Okay, the second button right here in the middle is your overclocking button. So you can hit that and it should do level 1, brings it down to 4.0, level 2, let's see what it does, 4.1 automatically, and then if I do here, standard one right here, as you can tell, it should bring it up to 4.3 gigahertz. Okay, now we have the LCD panel power button, and this right here, all it does is turn it off, like so. I have also noticed that this remains on even if the computer turns off initially. So I'll turn it off. I'll shut down my computer right now. Shut it down. Should be pretty quick because I have the Samsung Evo 840 or Samsung 840 Evo. See, it's all turned off. You hear the fans ramped up and they shut down. But if you hit this, you still get power to your ASUS ROG front base, and I'm not sure why it is. Like, I'm not sure. I do know I have two power supplies that are jumped via a connector, but both power supplies should be turned off. So I'm not sure about that. If anybody has any insight on that, please let me know so I can go ahead and power up the computer again. And that's pretty awesome. I didn't even know that. It actually displays the codes that are displaying within the motherboard itself with that little display. So that's pretty cool. So you can read your codes from here instead of looking at your motherboard to make sure it is booting up properly. That is something I did not know it did, just because I never paid attention when I turned on the motherboard and everything. So the reason why you're hearing all that sound is because I have the 3 Kingpin Edition 7080 Ti graphics cards, and they're ramping up. Okay, let me log in. Okay, I'm logged in, and I'm sure it's gonna load up the CPU frequency and all that stuff. So it's still loading, as you can tell, but something that I didn't know, I thought that's pretty cool that it is displaying the codes if you want. So that is really nifty. I'm not sure if I can keep going over. So that means I have to use this button right here. Okay, that powers it off. So now I want to know why it's not displaying the CPU frequency if it's doing 4.3 gigahertz. So I'm running CPU Z to make sure it is running at 4.3 gigahertz. Apparently there's an update, so I'm just going to say okay. And it is running roughly 4.3, 4.2, or 4,299 megahertz, or aka 4.3 gigahertz. So we're good to go on that. So I'm not sure why it's not displaying the CPU frequency again. So again, guys, if you know, have some insight. There we go. We had to wait for it to load, so now it shows. So it does take a little while for this little guy to get the information from the motherboard itself and retrieve it and display it here. Okay, let me go ahead and turn on the light, and I'll show you how it's connected and everything like that the best I can. So this may be a lengthy video, but I apologize. And keep in mind, this isn't nearly the way I want it. There's still wires everywhere. Cable management needs to be done. This is a work in progress. Alright, so hopefully how I have it focused and everything will not degrade the video I'm trying to shoot. But alright, here is your SATA power connector. Let me get my little chopstick here. SATA power connector right here. This is what it uses. You have your connector right here that connect the ASUS ROG connector that connects to your motherboard, and this right here is the AAFP connector, and this is not long enough because we're talking about this thing here has to go from here all the way down and go all the way to roughly like right here. I'm not even sure if you guys can see that where the red is, but that's where it needs to go, and that is probably a good 3 feet long for the connector. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for bearing with me, and it looks like I have a halo because of this light right here, but oh well. Again, I really appreciate the support you guys have given me. I'm trying to, you know, make best of these videos and my circumstances and everything like that. So as always, comment, subscribe, rate this video, click that like button, and you guys have a great day now. Bye.